Hare Krishna. So today we are going to begin our reading from Adyatma Ramayana, Ayodhya Kanta, chapter 4. Preparation of Sri Rama, Sita, Lakshmana for the forest exile. नमः ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानन्द श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 रामा राम रामा हरे हरे. Let's begin with a prayer to Lord Ramachandra. Lokabhiramam Ranarangkadhiram Rajivanetram Raghuvamshanatam Karunyarupam Karunakarantam श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये श्रीरामचन्द्रं शरणं प्रपद्ये. I take refuge in Sri Rama, who is pleasing to the people, who is calm and composed in the battlefield, whose eyes are like blue lotuses, and who is the lord of the Raghu dynasty, who is an embodiment of compassion and shower his compassion to all. I take refuge in the lotus feet of Sri Ramachandra. So, with this prayer, we'll begin our reading of Ayodhya Kanta, chapter 4. Lord Shiva said, O Parvati, Queen Sumitra, seeing Sri Rama standing, hesitantly woke Kausalya from a trance-like state and told her that he was waiting. As soon as she heard the name of Sri Rama, she became conscious of her surroundings. So the broad-eyed Sri Rama embraced him and made him sit on her lap. She smelled his head, caressed his dark complexioned body, which resembled the hue of a blue lotus, with her hand, and said, O son, you should be hungry. Eat something sweet. That's a sweet mother's love. Sri Rama replied, O mother, I do not have time to eat because this time it has been fixed for me to proceed to Dandakaranya forest today. My most truthful and honorable father has promised Mother Kaikeyi under oath to give the kingdom to Bharata and send me to exile in the forest. I shall live there for 14 years, attired as an hermit, and thereafter I shall return as soon as possible. You should not worry at all. Hearing these shocking words spoken all of a sudden, Kausalya fainted due to overwhelming sorrow and despair. When she recovered consciousness, she sort of tossed up and down in the ocean of great sorrows and anguish, and said to Sri Rama, O Sri Rama, if you are really going to the forest, then take me along. How can I survive even for a fraction of a second without you? Even as a cow cannot live anywhere without a young calf, I too cannot leave you, my dear son. If the king is pleased with Bharata, he should surely hand over the kingdom to him. But why does he order you, dear son, to go to the forest? By giving a boon to Kaikeyi, let the king give all that he has to her. But what harm have you done to either the king or to Kaikeyi? O Rama, even as your father is your guru, I too am of a great importance to you. If the father has told you to go to the forest, then I am not stopping you. If you defy my words and go to the forest on the orders of your father, I shall live my life and go to hell. In the sense, because I have committed suicide and will have violated the orders of my husband given to his righteous son. Okay, so she's saying that she will go to hell because she's going to commit suicide. if Ramachandra leaves her. Then, hearing Kausalya's words, Lakshmana looked at Sri Rama with fierce, stern eyes and spoke angrily as if to burn the three worlds by his wrath. I shall tie up the king who is mad and intoxicated, misled and under delusions, and infatuated and under the spell of Kaikeyi. I shall kill Bharata along with his complaints, maternal uncle, and other allies. Let them first see today my manhood, which is virile and potent, enough to burn and scorch all the lokas like the fire emanating from the legendary dragon Sheshnath. O Sri Rama, the vanquisher of enemies, you should prepare for the enactment. Lakshmana is very angry here. I shall kill all those with a bow and arrow in my hands, whoever tried to cause any hurdles in it. When Lakshmana has said so, Raghunandan, Sri Rama, clasped him to his bosom and said to pacify him, O the best in Raghu's clan, you are very valorous and brave, and my greatest well-wisher. Whatever you say, I know is true, but this is not the proper time for it. Your efforts should have been truly successful if this kingdom and the body, etc., which was visible, have been true. But these comforts of the world are like the transient lightning in the tent, the clouds, whereas life is a momentary as drop is as momentary as a drop of water on a piece of iron made red hot with fire. Even as a frog greedily looks at a fly while itself lying in the mouth of a snake, the people too yearn rapaciously for the perishable, transient, and temporary comforts and pleasures of this mundane, delusory world, in spite of being regularly devoured by the serpent of Kala, death. So those are deep and great words. What a surprise that a man suffers so much and indulges in various deeds and actions day and night just for the pleasures of the sense organs of this body. If he simply realizes that this body is different from the soul, then say, how can he derive any enjoyment or pleasure from it? The meeting with father, mother, son, brother, wife, kings, relatives, and friends are like those who assemble to drink water at a water hut and, and are as temporary, elusive, transient, or coincidental as collections of sticks wobbling and tossing the swift current of water in a river. It is evident without any doubt that Lakshmi is a transient, temporary, and elusive as a shadow. Youth is as perishable, and Lakshmi in the sense it's wealth or money. Youth is as perishable and short lived as wave in water. Comfort of woman is as false and nightmarish as a dream, and life is of most minimal duration. In spite of that, the creatures have great pride in them. This world is verily a collection of various diseases and tournaments. Okay, Krishna says this in Bhagavad Gita. He says, this world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Janma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha doshana darshan. So these are the realities of this material world. So when Lord Ramachandra says this, if we are too much involved into these things, we are literally in Maya. So it is very important for us to live in this world, do our duties with a higher consciousness. And if that higher consciousness or the divine consciousness is not there, it is easy, we get easily trapped into this Maya or the samsara and get caught up in all these things. Like as Ramachandra says, how we need to see how perishable the comforts in this material world are. And each time we see a person dying, we see that how vulnerable is our life. And it is very important for us to understand this truth of this world. And at the same time, we have to continue living in this world, but with a higher consciousness, with a higher understanding and the purpose for which we have come here. And we have to perform that purpose very well, not getting entrapped in all the other dramas that happens here. This world is verily a collection of various diseases and torments, as well as false and elusive, like a dream, a city of Gandharvas. Only foolish and ignorant ones regard this as true and follow it. Yes, it's basically when we have this higher understanding of who we really are, what is the purpose why we have been born here, and what is that I have to accomplish here, that we don't get distracted by the other trivial things that happen in this world. We will be very focused on what we have to do this in this world and why we have come here. So it's a great understanding, and it is a very higher understanding for and to be very conscious and very alert and very fixed on this higher goal of ours is a very challenging task in this material world because the mind gets diverted by various other things. So, in order to fix our mind and be stable on that higher goal, it is very important to take the guidance and surrender to the real guru because they are there to guide us at every step. The age, the age is steadily decaying. So Lord Ramachandra says, the age or the life is steadily decaying with the rise and setting of the daily sun. Old age and death of others is being observed by the creatures daily. Yes, we see that every day. But still, the foolish ones do not wake up to the reality. The day and night follow the same pattern, but an ignorant fool pursues comforts and pleasures of the sense objects without observing the passage of time. That is, he does not wake up to the fact that death is fast approaching. So it's very important to use our precious time for the very higher purpose instead of wasting it or instead of getting indulged in the past and the future that our mind gives. Either we are mostly in the past worrying, brooding over the past, or we are worrying about the future, but we never live in the present. It's very important to control our mind and live in the present according to the divine guidance and do what we are here to do. Age is decaying and wasting away every moment like water filled in an unripe clay pot, while the hordes of various diseases are destroying the body gradually like so many enemies. Old age is menacingly standing in the front like a frightening, ferocious, cruel, and savage lioness, while death walks alongside it, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. So, this is our precarious position. Only those who have egoistic attachment with this body consisting of nothing but germs, excreta, and ash consider themselves as I am a world famous king. O Lakshmana, think deeply and then say that the body relying upon which you wish to burn and scorch the world and which is made up of skin, bones, flesh, excreta, urine, sperms or ova and blood, how can they result how can that resultant evil, faulty and dirty body ever be an Atma? O brother, all faults arise in a person who is proud of his body. Such great words. The fallacious thinking that I am the body is called ignorance, while the belief or realization that I am not the body, but the pure consciousness or soul is enlightenment, true knowledge and wisdom. Ignorance and delusions are the cause of the world, presenting birth and death, while wisdom, truthful knowledge, and enlightenment frees or delivers one from it. Hence, the seekers of emancipation and salvation should strive to gain true wisdom, knowledge, and enlightenment. O the vanquisher of enemies, lust, greed, yearnings, anger, etc., are the enemies that create obstacles in this path. Out of these, anger, wrath, and maliciousness are sufficient to put an obstacle in obtaining emancipation and salvation, because under its spell, a person kills even his father, mother, dear ones, brothers, and friends. The root cause of mental agitations and anguish, perplexity, and vengeance is anger and maliciousness. It is anger that ties one to this mundane world and results in decay or destruction of dharma. Therefore, you should forsake anger. This anger, malice, wrath, vengeance is the great enemy. Attachments, infatuations, yearnings is the legendary Vaitarini river. Content, contentness, sorry, contentness, felicidity, satisfaction, okay. Oh, contentment, okay. Felicidity, satisfaction, desirelessness is another one, the forest in heaven. And peace, tranquility, serenity, bliss, calmness is the Kamadhenu cow, the celestial cow of the gods, which is all wish fulfilling. Wonderful words. So here, basically, in these words, Ramachandra is highlighting the bad effect of anger. How anger does nothing great. But at the same time, we see that um, Lord Hanuman, it is out of his anger that he burned the entire Lanka. So anger has to be motivated for a divine purpose. If it is for a divine purpose, then, or if it is by the guidance of our guru, or if it is by the guidance of the higher uh, the divine intervention, then it has to be taken up. Because as we see in Mahabharata, Arjuna says he doesn't want to fight. He doesn't want the war. He doesn't want to show that anger um, towards his family who are there in the battlefield, fight with them. But then Krishna says, no, you have to fight. And in order to fight, there should be a bit of anger. But that anger is not the conditioning, the degrading anger of this material world, but it is for a higher purpose. Like our parents or our teachers, they scold us. They scold us not to degrade us, but to bring us up, to show us the right path. We might be going in the wrong way. To bring us back into the right path, our parents or our gurus chastise us. So that the anger which they show towards us is for a higher purpose. And it's not actually anger, it is rising out of love and concern for us. So that is that's on a divine level. So we have to be very clear on what kind of anger are we projecting. Is it because of our material attachments that we show anger, or is it for a higher purpose? So we see that, and that anger of which comes out of that higher purpose will not harm people. Harm in the sense will not have any negative feelings towards others, but it is only for the establishment of dharma. So we see that even when they fight in the battlefield, even Ramachandra fights in the battlefield, he appreciates the other person who is fighting and he glorifies their character. And the same happens even in Mahabharata. So even when the war happens and even if people are killed, they always have this what to say, a good feeling towards others. Like they always appreciate what is good in the other person, and they agree that okay, our viewpoints are not on the same line, and that's why we have to fight. And they agree, and they go ahead and fight. And it's not that they and it is with full understanding that divine purpose of why they are doing it, and that's what makes them actually free from bondage. So Krishna says that in Bhagavad Gita, a person who has surrendered to me and does his activity on his divine guidance is actually free from all these sins. So whatever we actions that we do, so if that is the case, then Arjuna should have suffered so much sin for killing people in the war. But then Krishna says, I know what is the purpose of why these things are happening, and it is because of my intervention that this war is happening. And Krishna wanted this war to happen. So because of which Arjuna did not have to suffer much of the consequences of killing the people in the war. So if it is for a higher, if it is by the divine guidance, then whatever we do is taken care of by the divine. So Ramachandra says here, the anger that we show should not be out of material attachments. So if that is the case, then that will only degrade us. Hence, be at ease and calm down. By doing so, the enemy in the form of anger will not have any effect on you. The Atma is different and separate from the body, the sense organs, the mind, the vital winds, and the intellect and discrimination faculty, and is pure, self illuminated, faultless, without any blemish or tarnish, and is an attributeless entity. As long as a person does not realize or understand that the Atman is different and distinct from the body, sense organs, and vital winds, he remains tied to the snare of life and death, and consequently suffers from hordes of worldly agonies and sorrows, torments and tribulations. Therefore, you must treat your soul as separate and distinct from your mind, intellect, apparatus, etc. Follow this eternal follow this eternal world of deeds and actions with a behavior consonant with this outlook, and bear both the sorrows and joys, whatever you get, as destined for you by your previous deeds, with equanimity and forbearance, without having any mental anguish, contraction, and regrets. So, yeah. O Lakshmana, if you continue to do deeds by your external sense organs, that is the consciousness of this body, as and when they present themselves before you, requiring your attention as per the destined course of action, that is, as per your destiny, you still would not be bound in the shackles created by those deeds. Being internally, mentally free from infatuations, attachments, and the sense of belonging, having no malice or ill will towards anyone, and having a pure, unbiased way of thinking, you shall not be indulgent, involved, or attached with those actions or deeds that your body does. Contemplate in your heart on all that I have said, and always keep it in your mind. So this is very, very deep words, because Lord Ramachandra is explaining how to live in this material world and how to do your actions without getting affected by the reactions for your actions. It is basically what binds us into this material world is a karma. And the karma acts on us through our mind. So it is basically our consciousness or our intentions that actually binds us rather than the actions. It's like what they say. If a king kills a person to uphold justice, he is not affected by the sin of killing. But whereas if a normal person kills another one for his material gain, for whatever gain he wants, then that is considered as a sin. Because what happens here is, it is your conscious, the act is the same. But what is your mental state when you are performing that act? Is it because of greed? Is it because of attachment? Is it because of some gain that you want? Uh, or some ill will towards others? So whatever act you perform, the karma doesn't fall because the reactions that you get is not mostly based on the action that you do, but the intention of your action. What is your intention behind it? So that is what actually creates the karma in most of the, I mean, that because what happens is the karma comes along with us even in the next life. So what actually comes with us in the next life? Our body doesn't come, because the body, we leave the body. So the actions is more than the actions. What comes along with us is the mind, the intellect, and the ego carries the soul to the next body. So that's what the Shastra says. So this subtle body comes along with us even in the next life. So what holds the karma for us is in the subtle body. And the subtle body is mainly of our mind, intelligence, and the ego. So if we are able to change that, if you are able to change the consciousness in that subtle body, then the effect of karma will not work on us. So this is the secret of clearing the karmas. How can we clear our karmas or our the reactions for the actions that we have already done? Is by not indulging ourselves to the to whatever the mind says, or to whatever the material intellect says, or to whatever the ego says. We can clear all this only by surrendering to the Lord. Surrendering in the sense you listen and do things as per the divine guidance and not per the guidance of your mind or your ego. So that is very important. It's a very great, it's a very deep lesson. So Lord Ramachandra says, contemplate it. So these words have to be really understood and introspected to actually understand how to lead the life in this world. So that's what he says. Being internally, mentally free from infatuations and attachments, and the sense of belonging, having no malice or ill will towards anyone, and having a pure, unbiased way of thinking. See, it's all related to the mind, what he says. You you shall not be indulgent, involved, or attached with those actions or deeds that your body does. So even if the body is doing some activities, if your mind is not, if the mind is so pure like this, then it will not be affected because it's the mind which is going to carry that karma for you. By following this, you shall never be hindered by the various sorrows, agonies, troubles, and tribulations of this material world. That's also there. Then he addressed his mother. O mother, Kausalya, you should also think over what I have said on a regular basis and wait for the time when I shall meet you again. You will not have sorrows and agonies for long. Creatures who are tied to the snare of their deeds and their incumbent rewards cannot always expect to have coexistence. Even as boats without sails, which are floating down the swift currents of a river, do not always remain together. O mother, this seemingly long 14 years will fly away as if it were only half of a moment. All of you remove your sorrows and lamentations and give me permission to proceed to the forest. If you do so, I shall live happily in the forest. So these are very important because Lord Ramachandra clearly says it is your attachment towards, and that too it's a material, the material attachment that you are having towards me is what is actually binding you or creating this anguish and anger and the sorrow in you. Whereas if you don't have this, you will understand this is all with the passage of time. It's not that I'm going to go away forever. I'll come back in 14 years. So there is nothing much to worry. I'll be back with you. So just you just have to tolerate this 14 years of period. And if you just live in the present and just bless me and you also have your life, great life here, I'll be back in 14 years with you. Because Lord Ramachandra has understood that there is a purpose for his visit. I mean, there is a purpose for his journey to the Dandakaranya forest. So it is with this higher consciousness that he is doing all this, and because of which he is not troubled much. And even if you see, it is Dasharath Maharaj who's very much troubled by this agony, and he leaves the body. Whereas Kausalya, Mother Kausalya, and others, though they go through difficulties, but then still they survive that 14 years, and they are very happy when Lord Ramachandra returns back. So we see that why Dasharath Maharaj had to suffer is because there is a curse on him. So we have seen like Dasharath Maharaj is cursed that he will suffer the same agony as the parents, the father and mother of the son who suffered it. And so there is this curse. And this curse have worked on Dashrath Maharaj and on his mind. And I don't know, I mean, we don't see the this one of that he tried to clear that curse or whatever it is. But then this curse is on him. So that is why it is only Dasharath Maharaj who suffered so much rather than the others. And so we see that how karma works on all of us and how these curses also work on all of us. And it's very important to keep our mind on a higher consciousness so that we are able to remove the curses or remove these karmas by the grace of the divine. So we understand it is very difficult to break the chains of karmic connections or the karmas that are working on us. And it can happen only if we surrender to the divine and see a higher purpose. When we are able to see that higher purpose, and it is the attachments, and we are born or we are the situations are created around us for this karmas or this curses to work on us. So we should be very aware and conscious in the mind how these things act around us and how these are binding us. So if we are not self-conscious or self-aware, these can easily bind us and put us into delusion, and when the karma actually fructifies and works on us. So yeah. Having said so, he, Lord Rama, lay on the feet of his mother, prostrated like a stick for a long time. After that, the mother lifted him and seated him on her laps, blessed and praised him, and said, let Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, along with the Gandharvas, the Devatas, and all other gods always protect you while you walk, sit, or sleep in the forest. In this way, clasping him repeatedly to her bosom, the mother bade farewell to Sri Rama with a heavy heart. Then Lakshmana filled his eyes with tears of joy and exhilaration and said to him with a voice choked with emotions, O Sri Rama, you have removed all my internal doubts, confusions, and indecisions. I shall now follow you to serve you. Give me your consent for it. Show mercy and grace upon me. Otherwise, I shall leave my body. Raghava replied to him. The Sri Rama replied to him, saying, all right, come along. Do not delay. After that, the husband of Sita, who is Vibho, omnipresent, proceeded to his own palace to comfort and explain the developments to her. Then Sita, who used to speak softly with a smile, saw her husband coming. She brought water in a golden pot and reverentially washed his feet and asked him, O Lord, why have you come along without your army? Where have you gone in the morning? Where is your white ceremonial umbrella? Why have the musical instruments stopped playing? And why are you devoid of a crown, a tiara on your head, and other ornaments befitting a prince? Why have you not come with regal pomp along with other subordinate kings and ministers? When Sita asked these questions, Sri Rama smiled and replied, O the auspicious, blessed one, the Father has given me the entire king have given me the entire kinghood of a place called Dandakaranya. Wow. And O noble lady, I shall proceed soon to take charge. See, Lord Ramachandra is not angry or anything with his father. He understands that higher purpose. This is the beauty of it. The moment we understand the divine purpose and the higher purpose, we don't feel we understand that everything that is happening around us and people acting to us and behaving to us in a particular way is according to some higher plan. And when we see that, we don't feel that anger or frustration towards them. I shall go to the forest today. You should go to your mother-in-law and remain there serving her. I do not tell any lie. When Sri Rama had said so, Sita was scared and horrified. She fearfully asked him, why has your great father given you the kingdom of a forest? Sri Rama replied, O Anagha, the sinless one, the king was pleased with Kaikeyi and gladly gave the reign of the kingdom to Bharata while exiled to me by giving boons to her. The queen, that is Mother Kaikeyi, has asked for 14 years of exile for me. So the truthful and compassionate king had acceded to her wishes and gave that boon to her. Hence, O noble lady, I shall go there soon. Do not create any obstacle in this. Hearing these words of Sri Rama, Sita said more cheerfully, I shall go to the forest first. You come behind me. O Raghava, it is not proper for you to go to the forest leaving me behind. That's pleased with her response, Raghava then affectionately said to his beloved, soft-spoken wife Janaki, how can I take you with me to a forest full of tigers and other wild animals? There, ferocious demons live who eat humans, while cruel and wild animals such as lion, tiger, and boar roam about everywhere. Oh, the one with a beautiful waist. For food, one gets only bitter and sour fruits and roots. Delicious eatables are never available there. Oh, the beautiful one. Those fruits are also not always not available. They are found only occasionally. In that forest, the path is sometimes not visible because it is covered by dust and thorns. That Dandakaranya is full of such numerous falls. It has numerous caves and holes in the ground, while it is replete with cobwebs and spike-like thorns and prickles. In such a forest, one has to walk on foot even during cold wind and heat. I doubt that you will die of seeing the fierce and horrorful image of demons there in the forest. Therefore, O gentle lady, you should stay at home. You shall see me again very soon. Hearing these soon. Hearing these words of Sri Rama, Sita became agitated and overwhelmed with sorrow and said angrily, with a slight emotional quiver in her lips, "Why do you want to leave this loyal and chaste wife of yours at home? You are an expert in dharma and are merciful and compassionate. Why then do you wish to abandon your ardent devotee and chaste wife who is without any stain or blemish? O Sri Rama, even in the forest, who, who can do any harm to me while you are with me? Whatever fruits and roots will be left over after you have had them shall be like Amrit for me. I shall be content by them and live happily. While roaming with you, even the grass blades, reeds, and thorns, etc., shall be like a bed of flowers for me. There is no doubt about it. See, these are not some romantic words, but then she really feels it because for her, being in the presence of her husband is much greater than I mean that is life for her, and the royal bed and the soft bed and uh, the tasteful dishes in the palace seems like poison for her in the absence of her husband. So that's why she says, see, for her being with her husband is more important, or the most important thing in her life than than the than the comforts of the palace. And these are not just the words that she says just to satisfy him, but then she actually goes through all of this. She had to the way, like even if we go into the forest or deep inside, we'll see that how many thorns and prickles are there. We can't walk without slippers there, but then they are walking on barefoot. So and it's a dense forest. It's not like the forest of these days. So she endures all this just because she can be with her husband. So these are not just the modern romantic words, but then she actually goes through all this. I shall not give you any trouble of any kind. On the contrary, I shall be helpful in your endeavors. During my childhood days, an expert astrologer had prophesied that I shall live with my husband in the forest. Let those words of the Brahmin be truthful. I shall surely accompany you to the forest. There is one more thing I tell you. On hearing it, you should take me to the forest. You must have heard many Ramayanas from the mouth of many learned Brahmins. Tell me, tell me, has Sri Rama gone to the forest without Sita in any of these versions of the Ramayana? Hence, I shall truly be your helper and companion, and will surely go alongside you to the forest. So this is something wonderful. So Ramayana existed or was there, and they used to read Ramayana even during Rama's time. So these are the Ramayanas which are coming from so many kalpas back. Because we see in the Kala Chakra, we see that the Kali Yuga lasts for 32,000 years. And twice of that is the time span of Dwapara Yuga. And thrice of Kali Yuga is the Treta Yuga. And four times of Kali Yuga is the Satya Yuga. So everything combined together, it comes to, yeah, so you can do the math. So it's around 43 lakh or something. Is the entire span of all these four yugas together. So in which Treta Yuga comes once. In the four cycles, Treta Yuga comes once. And in that Treta Yuga, Lord Ramachandra appears. And after the passing of all these four yugas, which is called one Mahayuga, the next Mahayuga comes. Again, the Satya, Treta, Dwapar, and Kali repeats itself over and over again. So in every time, Lord Ramachandra comes in Treta Yuga. And in each time, it can be the same Ramayana or the same story, or the story can differ. Because there is this pastime of the Leela of a person called Kaka Bhikshu. Um, when we talk about this personality, his name is actually Kaka Bhushundi. So he's actually a sage, and you can read about him in online or on Wikipedia, and there are many stories related to that. So Kaka Bhushundi, he is a great devotee of Lord Ramachandra, who is in the body of a crow. So he is being blessed by Lord Ramachandra that he will have profound wisdom, immortality, and he has the ability to transcend time. So Kaka Bhushundi, while he was talking with Garuda Dev, he tells Garuda that he has witnessed Ramayana 11 times and the Mahabharata 16 times. So they say that this is recorded in Padma Purana about Kakabhushundi, or in Yoga Vashishtam, where Vashishta Maharshi guidance, it talks about how Vashishta Maharshi gives guidance to Lord Ramachandra. So that's also there. So in different books, it has been recorded the story of Kakabhushundi. So where what happens here is the Ramayana that we hear is definitely written by Valmiki Maharshi, and is what has happened in the current Treta Yuga, which just passed in our Mahayuga. But then Ramayana is still going on in different universes, in different kalpas. And Ramayana will again come again in our world, in this universe, in the next kalpa. So it keeps happening in different places, in different brahmandas, in different universes, and based on their timelines in their Treta Yuga, Ramayana keeps happening. And interesting thing is, not all the Ramayanas have the same ending. They have different endings. Because Kaka Bhushundi says, I have seen Ramayanas where the war never happens. I have seen Ramayana where Rama doesn't go to the forest. I see Ramayana where Rama goes to the forest, but then he comes back. And I have seen Ramayana where Sita is never captured by Ravana. So the different Ramayanas, different Mahabharatas, they have different endings in different Brahmandas and in different Kalpas. So this is the expanse or the greatness of this world and the creation that we are in. So here, coming back here, Sita Devi says, we have all heard about we all have heard Ramayanas, and you yourself have heard Ramayana. She tells this to Sri Ramachandra himself. We have heard Ramayanas. And in all the Ramayanas, if he goes to the forest, definitely Sita is going to accompany Rama in the forest. So how can this Ramayana be any different? I will come with you. So this is the greatness of our scriptures. Rama is reading his own Ramayana from previous kalpas or from different Brahmandas. So it's amazing how the time works. Hence, I shall truly be your helper and companion and will surely go along with you to the forest. So, in fact, we might question, does Mother Sita and Ramachandra already know what is going to happen? Yes, they definitely know, because even Vashishta Maharshi tells Lord Ramachandra in the beginning of this Adyatma Ramayana, he says, you know who you really are and what is the purpose of your birth here. So Ramachandra knows why he is here, and even Sita. And now we understand. Even Sita Devi knows what is going to happen. Basically, they know what is going to happen. So when everything is so evident, we see it. And why is the Shrat Maharaj so much in agony? Because when we don't understand this higher purpose, when we don't know the real purpose of our birth and what is the purpose of why we have come here, is when we are said to be in Maya. And that's what binds us and puts us into all the frustration. So it is the lack of understanding of this higher meaning of our life. So here we see that Mother Sita and Lord Ramachandra, they already know what is going to happen. If you go alone by abandoning me, then I shall leave my life immediately in front of you. Seeing such a firm determination of Sita, Raghunandan, Sri Rama said, O Devi, come along with me to the forest hastily. Give these necklaces and other priceless ornaments to sage Vashishta's wife, Arundhati. We shall donate all our wealth to Brahmins and then go to the forest. Saying so, he asked Lakshmana to call all the Brahmins. Raghu that is the shining star in Raghu's clan, Sri Rama, that's basically Sri Rama himself, gladly donates hundreds of cows, a lot of wealth, magnificent clothes, garments, and ornaments to virtuous, expert Brahmins along with their relatives and kins. Sita gave away her main ornaments to Arundhati, while Sri Rama gave away a lot of wealth to the servants serving his mother. Similarly, he distributed a lot of arms to the servants of the royal household, denizens of the city, subjects of the realm, and the Brahmins. So we see that though they are the servants, they are never unhappy serving their masters because their masters are taking care of them so well. See how much they are giving profusely to their servants. On the other hand, Lakshmana put his mother Sumitra in the care of Kausalya, took his bow in his hand, and stood before Sri Rama. After that, Sri Rama, Sita, and Lakshmana went to the forest together. Sri Rama, who was dark complexioned and as beautiful as thousands of Kandarpas, accompanied by Sita and younger brother Lakshmana, went along slowly on the central avenue of the city, illuminating all the 10 directions with the splendor and brilliant radiance, while the citizens and subjects of the kingdom watched him eagerly with affectionate curiosity and wonder and wonder while he purified the whole world by the touch of his holy feet while on his way to the palace of his father. So, with this, we come to the end of the fourth chapter of the Ayodhya Kanta. I think it's a bit more in detail. So, the next session, you will see the fifth chapter of the Ayodhya Kanta. Hare Krishna. Jai Shri Ram.